Alright, since the last video, I went ahead and I made a lot of changes. So let's go ahead and look first off to the Hangman drawing that we were just looking at. I decided to only display one of the lines and not the second line that had that went down a little bit, because I was running out of lines to display on the screen when you go to print the characters at the bottom. And so I made that change, but then the rest of it is basically the same. So I filled these all out since the last video. I put all these in. If G is 5, if G is equal to 6, then it draws what it looks like when you lose the game. All right, so let's run the program. Hangman. So that's the main program. It also uses Hang1 to draw the Hangman. So there's your word. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 letters. And let's give a guess. Let's go. In order to give the guess, I'm going to alpha mode. And let's do S, because that's a popular letter. Oh, S is not valid, so it draws your head at the top. So let's pick another lever. I know the answer here, so it's kind of cheating. But let's pick A. So now it didn't draw another body part, it put the A where it's supposed to go. And you'll notice when I'm picking letters, I have to be in alpha mode, and it clears alpha mode every time you pick a letter. So I have to hit alpha, and then I gotta pick my letter. Like if I was gonna pick T, enter. So that T was the third letter in. Now I'm gonna pick D, because I know the word, so this is totally cheating, but let's go alpha E. We're gonna fill out the word, we're gonna win this one. And then let's pick I. And then let's pick L. So the word is detail. Winner, game over. So that's a game of Hangman. Now if we were to run it again, except this time, it's the same word. So far all I've done is programmed in one word, and we can change that later, but that's all I have. If I was just to pick all bogus letters, you get the head, then you get the body, then you get the arm, and I programmed it to do the right arm, the left arm, and then the left leg, and then finally, if you miss the last one, dead, game over. So now the reason why I only have one word in there is because the TI83 basic isn't very flexible. I learned a lot making this, and I'm going to go into that in a separate segment here in a moment, but I'll go into the program really quick and we can look at it. And so if you look at here, if we just swap that word out, that's the word that we're hunting for. You could easily modify the program to say, do the input, so you input the word first, and then you hand it to somebody else to try to guess, and you can kind of play it where you hand it back and forth. But that has its drawbacks, because then you always have to enter the letter. You always have to enter the word first. There were a few challenges that I encountered when trying to make this program, and that's why I went ahead and completed it. And then after I completed it, I backed it up, and I wanted to show how I did that. I have this Texas Instruments transfer cable, which is a USB, and it's specifically for the TI83. And so I used that cable, and you plug it in right here at the bottom, and then you plug the other with this, and then you plug the other into your USB on your computer. What we're going to do now is skip over to the computer, and I want to show in full detail what the program looks like, and I'll go over that a little now. Alright, this is the TI Connect software that you get that comes with the transfer package that I just showed. Although it says it's for Windows 8, it also works here on Windows 10. One of the first things that I did is I went ahead and went to TI Backup. So once it finds your device, it already has RAM and archive checked. I guess I don't have any apps, so it doesn't have that checked. Even though apps isn't checked, it does back up your program files. And then you just click OK, and then it runs and it goes ahead and backs up your entire calculator, which is awesome. This process here takes a couple of minutes, and then it takes similarly a couple of minutes to do the restore if you ever have to do that restore for any reason. If you click restore, throws it into the backups folder here. My documents, my TI data, backups. And so that's the second one I made here in the last few days. So all you have to do is go in, select that file, hit OK. It will restore your entire calculator if you need it restored. Pretty much the main thing that I use in here is the TI Device Explorer, the one on the top left. And when that pops up, you can go into Program. You can kind of look through all of these options. You can look at your current screen image. And if I was to do that, let's take a look and see what it shows. Everything takes a few seconds when you click get the screen. So that's what it's showing, exactly what it's showing on the screen, which is kind of cool, right? I don't want to save that. If we want to, we could save that image. But really, all I wanted to do was go in here, take a copy of all of my programs, and just drag and drop them over to... So we'll go over here to my TI data. I guess I could throw it in the same backup folder. Just drag and drop them over using Windows Explorer, and then it begins transferring the files. And it's longer than you would like. It's not instantaneous. For such a minute amount of data, you would think it would be quicker. But yeah, most of the time, it was just trying to connect. So there's all the programs, and if you were to look at them, say in Notepad++, they're completely encrypted, some kind of way. So you think, okay, well, how do I read those? That's where we're going now. So I found this nifty website called this SourceCoder 3 for the online calculator. What we can do is I can go here and select Choose Files, and then go over to that folder. And let's look at Hang 1, which is the drawings of Hangman, and bring it right in. And this is really cool because you can go in here and you can edit this however you want. So you could change this if you want to. You can change all these characters to the vertical bar, and it does work. And that vertical bar is a shift and backslash on a PC. The problem that I've had with importing and exporting, so once you're done with your changes, you can click export, and then it puts it into your downloads file. But the problem I have with it is that for some reason, I guess it's a limitation of the program, I'm not sure, but it strips out these backslashes. And I tried doing backslash, so for some reason it's stripping those out. There might be a workaround, and I would love to know what that is. I'm just gonna leave Hang 1 by itself, and now let's take a look at the main program that you came here to look at. So let's go to the main menu, choose Files, and look at Hangman. And click Open. We're gonna replace project. Okay, so now this is the entire Hangman program that I just showed you a few minutes ago. And basically, I'm gonna go through it line by line. You throw a 0 into variable G, which is our guesses, basically our bad guesses. we're going to initialize string 5 and string 2 to be a blank space. A limitation of TI83 basic is that you cannot just make these blank blank. There has to be a space. Otherwise you come up with these weird dimension errors. And that is a problem. It does make you have to work around that limitation. I have a label V here. It was just arbitrary. And then at the bottom I say go to V. And so this basically loops until it encounters a stop, like when the game's over or when you win or when you lose. And then I initialize inside this program, I initialize string 3. String 3 is on the TI83, you have string 1, string 2, string 3, all the way to string 0. So it goes to 9 and then string 0. Those are the only strings you can use, as far as I can tell, on the calculator. So you have to kind of assign and keep track of it in your mind what they are. And what I've done is string 2 is your character that you're guessing. So string 2 gets input down at the bottom, and so you're saying input that character. It gets thrown into string 2. String 5 keeps track of all your guesses. So if you guessed A, B, C, string 5 keeps track of all those. It adds it A, B, C into string 5. And so it does that in here. String 3 is the characters at the bottom. It's your word guesses. So if you guess the D in detail, it's going to have D and then a bunch of dashes. So that is what I've used for string 3. String 4 is just a temporary string to hold one character. String 1 is your word. So you're trying to guess that word, and that's stored in string 1. I put the length of string 1 into L, so however many characters it is. And then I append string 5 plus string 2, throw it into string 5. That's just adding the character, whatever letter you guessed, and then add it to string 5, so it appends it. And then you have this for loop. For x equals 1 to the length, the number of characters in your string. And then it does these commands in here. Sub is a substring, so it's kind of like a mid string in other versions of BASIC. So it says whatever's at this string at position x, 1, throw that into string 4. InString is a function that takes the first parameter, string 5, and tries to match it to the second parameter. So if string 4 is contained within string 5, it's going to return back the position and throw it into P for, I guess I just use P for position. And then I say if P exists, if it's 0 or greater than 0, then we're going to take string 3 and then append the substring of string 5, P, 1. So and then throw that into string 3. So all that's doing is saying, essentially all this is doing right here is making it, if the word is detail and you pick the letter D, it's going to make that first character a D. If it matches, if it doesn't match, it's going to leave it as a dash. So it has to build this string 3 all the way from the beginning. It does this loop, so it builds out the string. So if it's D, it's going to be D dash 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 dash. If you had DE, it would be DE dash 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 dash. And then here at the next part, it just displays the string 3. What I'm doing, the reason why I am doing this substring is because I don't want it to print a space at the beginning. If you leave it the way it is, it prints a space and then the word, so like space detail, and I wanted it to start at detail and eliminate that first space. That's what this command here does. The substring of string 3 starting at position 2, the length of the string minus 1. And the reason why it does that space is because it makes us initialize with something in there. I used a space, and you can't use a blank, so I just use that to work around it. So, and then here what we're doing is, because there is a space in string 3 at the beginning, I just put a space at the beginning of detail, the words for string 1. So string 1 doesn't have a space in it, but I add a space in there just to make them match. And if they are equal, then you have a winner. You output at position 2, 9 winner, output at position 3, 8 game winner, which is one line down further. I also check if the game's over right here. If the number of bad guesses is greater than or equal to 6, I guess you could just say equal 6. Then you output at position 2, 10, dead. And then the first parameter is the row. The second parameter is the column. And then down one line, 3, 8, game over. And then at the bottom is where you actually do the input. Input your letter to guess. If it's not in the string, if it's not one of the letters in the answer, that's what this is saying. If it's not one of the letters in the answer, then add 1 to the guesses. And then otherwise go to V at the top, and you just keep looping until you either win or you lose. It sounds complicated, and I was really glad that I found this program, though, to look at it all on one screen. Whereas on the TI83, you can only see like 6 or 8 lines at a time, and so it's a little limiting. So I love being able to see the whole program. And then also, if you notice, this website also indents. It indents the if statements and the for loops. I didn't do that. This program did, so it's really useful. And if you make any changes to this, and we're going to do that, in fact, we're going to make a change to this. All we have to do is export it out, and then we can copy it up to our TI83. The thing I wanted to do was show that we can swap out the dash right here. We can actually make that an underscore, and it will work. So instead of having a bunch of dashes, is what I was using initially, or minus signs, we can substitute that for underscores. So I'm going to hit export and go to that folder, and then we're going to copy that over onto the TI83. Not that one, but this one. So I'm going to drag. All you do is you drag, let me show you. We drag the program and put it right there at the root, and that will initiate the copy. Then you hit replace to replace the existing one. And so now it's done. Just wait for it to refresh. And what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna execute the program and see if you can notice that they're underscores. Let me put a letter in first, like the letter A. Now I'll do a screen capture. Now notice that they're underscores instead of minus signs, which is really cool. It only took a few minutes, but a few minutes to do that. But this is an easier way than using the actual keyboard accessory. And I'm not even sure if you can do some of those special characters on the keyboard at any rate. So now this program, although it's listed here, it's only 37 lines long, it looks fairly simple. It took me several hours to get to this point, and I did it all in the calculator. I didn't find this program until after I had finished the programming the game. Anyway, that is the Hangman game for the TI83-Plus. I have posted all the programs you've seen here in this video over on GitHub/GrayDefender. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe, and there will be more calculator videos coming soon. Thank you for watching.